The country's provincial and national departments will be publicly celebrated or shamed when Auditor General Kimi Makwetu announced the 2015-2016 audit reports. The financial standings of government's departments will be announced by the country's AG for the current financial year. Last year recorded a positive change with more departments registering a clean audit. Today it will be revealed who have been financially savvy and who have poorly managed their finances provincially and nationally. Last year's AG report recorded 84 public entities receiving clean audits and 6 provinces recorded net improvements. Mpumalanga and the Northwest regressed compared to previous financial years. Gauteng's audit showed little movement, while 65 departments in national government received clean audits. AG report found 30 departments received qualified audits, and the report also showed that clean audits improved slightly from 26% to 28% in the 2014-2015 financial year. Economist Francois Stoffberg joins us from Pretoria. Good morning, Mr. Stoffberg. There are perceptions that the national and provincial departments are riddled with corruption and wasteful expenditure, hence the cry for lack of service delivery by the citizens. Would you say that the AG is succeeding to contain the situation, which has sometimes been described as rampant?
Well, yes, we've seen quite substantial improvements over the last year, which I think is commendable. The departments and municipalities are doing a lot of work to make sure that their financials are in order, and it's good to see improvements in that regard. We're just a little bit concerned at the amount of qualified audits. Remember, in these instances, qualified, usually when we qualify for something, it's a good thing, but in terms of audits, being qualified is necessarily a bad thing. So the amount of qualified audits that we are still seeing is still very troublesome, specifically in some of the larger departments like the education department.
And commentators and analysts tend to look at what the ordinary person regards as abstract figures, not taking to their needs. What can be done to make politicians and officials account and produce tangible deliverables?
Yes, that's a good question. I actually wanted to touch on that. In business sense, if you have a qualified audit, usually directors lose their jobs. It's a very troublesome thing once again to see that these departments and municipalities are run in a way that their financials or the information that auditors can get from their financials is not sufficient enough to get a clean audit. That means that the transparency that we were hoping for in these departments and the corruption that usually goes hand in hand with that transparency is still lacking, which gives a free rein for corruption in some of these departments. And that is very worrisome, because you want to have the auditors get enough information from the departments to ensure that the right contracts were issued to the right parties, that there was not state capture as a very good example, that some of the money didn't get lost through the cracks. So if you do get that there has been this large amount of wasteful, not just wasteful, but also irregular spending, it means that the hard-earned tax money of every taxpayer in South Africa is not used as efficiently as it should be. One very good example is the irregular spending in the education department that amounted to almost 1.3 billion rand, which means irregular. It wasn't necessarily used for the right in the right sections of the education budget, which once again comes down to the point of policy implementation. And then you get to understand why we are struggling with education in South Africa, and we have these very low results compared to other global economies.
And let's look at municipalities, for example. Recently, we've heard the Treasury saying that quite a big number of them is crying poor, yet they get allocations from the Treasury. What is your view on this?
Well, yeah, the municipalities, it all comes down to this point of, are you doing everything that you should be doing concerning your finances? Are you allocating the money to the correct departments? And do you have that paper trail to prove that the money is being spent on the correct items. It's the same for the departments that it is for municipalities. Once again, they have had substantial increases or improvements in their audits and the amount of unqualified audits that they do have, which is once again commendable and it is good. But we still have some of the provinces or municipalities really struggling with the departments in those municipalities to get the amount of qualified or unqualified audits that we do need to ensure transparency of our finances, of our government finances, and to ensure the correct implementation of finances in these departments and these municipalities. And until that point, until we have that point where we have enough information to get clean audits, and to correctly implement the finances, the very scarce finances that we do have to our disposal, then we'll have to continue improving. But unfortunately, we don't see the correct steps being taken against those departments, or the correct steps being taken against those departments and municipalities that do not deliver the unqualified audits that we need to ensure product transparency and a reduction in corruption.
And in regards to my former question, do you think there's enough political oversight, requisite skills and the will to act on the AG's report?
Oh, yeah.
And is there enough planning
Yes,
and
yeah,
managing of projects?
Yes, there, I think. Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Stoffberg, you can go ahead and answering that question.
Yes, cool. So yes, there are enough people to do the job. There is enough political will and power to have that oversight. It almost feels as though the Auditor General's report is a add-on product. It's not, the focus is never solely on the report and the importance of the report. I think too many people don't understand the importance. Well, I can't speak for the politicians, but I hope they understand the importance, because you need to understand the importance to start enforcing the very crucial implementation of these transparent measures that have been put in place. So I do believe that, well, I hope that the political will is there. They do have the manpower, they do have the skills to do it, but it seems as though the attention has been lacking that the Auditor General is due, and the attention and the importance of a clean audit has not been emphasized, actually, and that is a bit of a concern.
And do you think there is enough planning and managing of projects undertaken by municipalities and other government departments?
Yes, there is enough planning. There is enough. The right processes are in place to ensure that finances will be effectively allocated. So the processes are there. It's more the implementation of these processes that are still lacking. That shortcuts are being taken. That certain reporting is not done on the date that it's supposed to be done, and I think that's where the problem is. I don't think that there's a problem with the process itself. It's more the implementation of that process that I think is still not completely there yet.
So the implementation of it is a Kilimanjaro, just like revenue collection is another big Kilimanjaro for the municipalities. Water, electricity, taxes and other bills that remain unpaid. Does this contribute to the bad debts that our municipalities face?
Well, yes and no. Some of the larger municipalities do have their own revenue streams, but it's more from a national perspective that you get the VAT, the VAT collections, etc. So, yeah, yes and no. I wouldn't say that the lack of being able to get all the revenue that is due to the specific municipality would really upset the finances of specific municipalities. Yes, it does contribute, but not so substantially. The larger problem is still the irregular and the wasteful expenditures that do incur in these instances. Those people that do not pay their taxes, that's more of a going concern that any business would have. Every business does have. I'm referring to the municipality as a business now, trying to say that every business, every municipality in this instance, will have debtors that do not pay their debt. And that is something unfortunate, but that is something that you have to try and manage and negate and reduce to a level that you can actually still have a sustainable business. In no business do you always have everybody paying at the time. You should actually try and put that and carry that on your bottom line. The rest of your business should be or the rest of your municipality should be so well managed and so well run that you can actually continue to have a sustainable business and still have an unqualified report.
Thank you so much, Mr. Francois Stoffberg, for answering our questions and also giving us some